recording. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is Kira's speech. Okay.
All right. By show of hands, how many people in here speak more than one language? Okay, so we got 1, 2. By show of hands, for how many of you is English not your first language? Okay, cool. So, according to Ethnologue, the world's leading catalog of languages spoken in the world, there are over 7,000 languages spoken around the world. But in the U.S., there's this big push to only speak English. You've probably heard people say jokingly or kind of seriously to speak American. But there are so many countries around the world that have made it compulsory to study more than one language in school. Some countries start teaching students different languages as young as 3 years old. So the question that I have for everyone today is, should learning a foreign language be made compulsory in U.S. schools as well? And I'd like to advocate for mandating foreign language education in schools by looking at the economic, cognitive, and social disadvantages that Americans are facing by only learning one language. So, next. First, I'd like to look at the economic advantages of learning more than one language. It makes sense that speaking only one language would hinder the amount of job opportunities available to you. According to Mohammed Abdul Kader, the deputy leading the DOE's, or Department of Education's language education arm, 1 in 5 jobs are tied to international trade. For everyone that's not good at math, 1 in 5 is 20% of international trade jobs. Bilingualism or multilingualism is beneficial in that it directly benefits individuals by increasing their earnings relative to their peers, their job opportunities and labor mobility, and their chances at promotion to higher levels, according to many academic studies. Inversely, monolingual employees, they earn less, have fewer job opportunities, and less upward mobility. So it makes sense to encourage foreign language acquisition. But even just working among bilingual individuals is beneficial for monolingual employees, because having those bilingual employees makes a company have a farther global and local reach rather than just being able to interact with companies that speak only one language or are only able to work in one language. Besides being economically beneficial, being multilingual has cognitive benefits as well. And if you could click. So I'd like to look at the cognitive advantages. According to a lot of studies, there are many benefits for your brain and your body from learning another language. Where did we go? One medical study looked at bilingualism's effect on code switching, which is being able to hear one language and immediately translate to another language. Code switching, neurological processing such as executive functioning, and ability to learn and protection against age-related decline. According to one study, the cognitive and neurological benefits of bilingualism extend from early childhood to old age as the brain more efficiently processes information and staves off cognitive decline. What's more, the attention and aging benefits aren't exclusive to people who are raised bilingual. They're also seen in people who learn a second language later in life. One reason a lot of people don't think that foreign language education should be mandated in schools is because there's this idea that, oh, well, if they don't start learning it from birth or from a young age, then it's harder to pick up as you get older, which isn't true. It's beneficial for everybody. Not only does it affect how your brain works, but it affects even the actual gray matter of your brain, according to an article published in 2017. So the younger you implement foreign language learning, the sooner you can reap the benefits. Babies as young as 7 months old and elderly seniors that are multilingual experience many benefits from learning more than one language. Finally, I'd like to point out the social and cultural benefits of learning another language. So the social advantages. In a study done by a group of psychologists in 2017, it says, We took a group of children in the United States, ages 4 to 6, from different linguistic backgrounds, and presented them with a situation in which they had to consider someone else's perspective to understand her meaning. So they took this group of kids that were 4 to 6, and they said, here's these set of cars. But what they did was, one of the cars they hid from the speaker's point of view. So the kids could see all 3 cars, but the speaker could only see 2. So the speaker asked for, can you hand me the smaller car? The kid could see that there was a smaller car near to them, but they realized that the speaker couldn't see that smaller car. So what they found was speakers of multiple languages are better at interpreting and understanding someone else's meaning by understanding their perspective better. Understanding another person's meaning is essential to communication. But even just being around bilingual people is beneficial in improving a person's ability to interpret meaning. They looked at students that had bilingual grandparents. They didn't function necessarily quite as well in understanding someone else's perspective, but it's still beneficial. To summarize, monolingualism in America is leaving Americans at an economic, cognitive, and social disadvantage in comparison to their multilingual counterparts, all of which can be improved by implementing and mandating foreign language education at a young age. If you could click that. Closing yourself off from the rest of the world is both damaging and really isolating and makes your world really tiny. You literally have nothing to lose by learning another language, and by learning that language, you expand your world. So I would like to say, if you're not already involved in learning another language, you should really do so. There are so many avenues to learning another foreign language in and out of school. Thank you.